We're going.
And we're live. Every time, man.
Straight from the start.
Straight from the start. Should probably turn that down. But, I mean, welcome to fucking Tuesdays, right?
Yeah.
There's gonna be some strange noises. As usual, take whatever it is that comes out of either one of our mouths with a grain of salt. Don't be an idiot. Yeah, welcome to fucking Tuesdays. The uncanny valley is a term used to describe the relationship between the human-like appearance of a robotic object and the emotional response it evokes. So,
Like reference to it being uncanny, and I'm assuming Valley would be like Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley?
I'm not
One of
entirely
those
certain.
valleys?
In this phenomenon, people feel a sense of unease or even revulsion in response to humanoid robots that are highly realistic. So,
That's similar to like the fear of things like mannequins and stuff like that.
yeah. Okay, so the uncanny valley, it's things that are too close to humans but not quite makes humans very uncomfortable. The original point that brought this up was a TikTok that got sent to me where a dude was talking about this happens because of humans, we have an ingrained fear of things that are close but not quite because of maybe something that used to be superhuman like an apex predator that used to prey on humans.
By taking the form of a human, basically.
Or maybe even just being, like, let's say vampires or something.
Yeah.
Maybe in a time lost now to history that vampires were a known, maybe not even vampires, but, you know, something predatory, superhuman-like, but still not quite the same species. So we're noticing it because of the AIs and things now. Like, so I want to say, was it the 40s or the 50s when Disneyland opened the It's a Small World exhibit?
Yeah, the animatronics.
Yeah, it was, I think, the first large-scale animatronics thing of its kind. Like, nobody'd ever seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
So they put probably billions of equivalent
sure.
in today's money in building this thing, right?
I mean, say what you want about Disney, but they go all out with everything.
Well,
they
this
do.
was one of their first major exhibits.
Yeah.
Anyway, the first few days, the animatronics were so accurate, so humanistic compared to anything anybody had ever seen, that their motions were making people, like, very uncomfortable. People were vomiting. People were, like, running away screaming. Like, this was terror-invoking at the time. And they shut it down for a long time to figure out why.
Which is funny, because going back these days and seeing it, you're like, this is horrible.
Well, they also made lots of changes while it was shut down. Like, obviously, it's been reopened.
Yeah.
So what they came up with was, it was the sight of seeing a human form do something so robotically. So, like, little things you don't even notice. Let's say you go to pick something up off a table. Your hand's going to go slightly past and then come back to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how we find our ranges and things. And this is, like, the human condition minus race and religion and all that dumb shit. Like, humans do the same things.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why we recognize each other as whatever. So when a robot goes in to grab something, that's one of the reasons they're so much fun to watch, as long as they're not humanoid. Because they do things in a different way than we do, and your subconscious picks that up.
Precision.
So, I mean, the original point, I think, was the doppelganger type thing. Or, like you said, the shapeshifters.
Yeah.
I read a Witcher book recently. Like, you know, the video game turned to Netflix show turned now.
It's a good
apparently, yeah. But they made a book, which was pretty funny, with Dandelion and The Witcher and Yennefer and all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, one of the things he has to deal with is a doppelganger. I think it was a doppelganger. Doppelganger is also, I guess you could call him a major character in Through the Looking Glass. General Doppelganger. I got distracted. Oh, The Witcher.
Yeah, we were talking about The Witcher.
The Witcher doppelganger.
He had to fight a doppelganger.
ADHD. No, he kind of kicked the shit out of it. But it's because it had taken the form of a halfling.
Does he hate halflings or something?
No, but the halfling that it had taken the form of was not very happy about having his form taken. It stole all his shit. and just left him laying, clubbed him in the head. Like, so these things, when they take a human form, they absorb all the memories, they become the thing. Super, super strange.
So does I'll say host, do they lose their memories?
No.
Okay. So they just...
Apparently they just have to be able to watch long enough, and then, like, if they become you. So This one takes over the mind of a halfling merchant who was a pretty shrewd businessman. But then he's 10 times better at it because he has none of the scruples. Like, he knows all of the stuff, but he didn't learn any of the lessons.
Yeah.
So, like, he just goes and does all this kind of shisty business deals, but makes a shit ton of money. So they don't kill him. They let him stay as pretend to be a different halfling, because all halflings look the same. You know, it's The Witcher, casual racism.
Yeah.
It's okay as long as they're a mythological being.
Halflings aren't real.
Like kinders.
So you can't be racist if it's not an actual race.
Kinders are stupid. I hate them.
Kinders are hilarious.
I hate them so much.
They're like toddlers.
If you don't know, if you've never played D&D, Kinder is a race that they're just kleptomaniac, freaking pyromantic weirdos.
Rogues.
Who have way too much love for gold. And carrying around
or just about anything
large amounts of it.
Down.
Shiny. Anyway, Uncanny Valley. I think humans kind of can sense that AIs are growing at an alarming rate and have been since we came up with them. So yeah, the closer they get, we can kind of see our own demise in their ascension.
Yeah.
You think World War III will be the drones versus the people?
I don't think so. Well, no, I don't think that'll be World War III.
Maybe the end of World War III. It might be a long one, man.
Might be the outcome of World War III.
Could be. World War IV is going to be spicy. Very, very spicy. Basic magic.
So like pumpkin spice and vanilla magic?
Sort of. Altars, candle magic, smudging. So, at one point we had the idea to do a basic and an advanced magic segment. I should have added literature and comedy hour and all that, but obviously we're just going to bounce around in those anyway, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, the basic magic, I don't care. I was hoping... I need to find somebody that has a little bit of knowledge of magic to ask me the questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, if any witches out there want to come on the podcast, no weird shit. But, yeah, I mean, it's fucking Tuesdays, man. It's going to be a little bit of weird shit, but relatively little weird shit.
Just don't make it awkward.
It's my job, dude.
Not you.
Oh. Okay, so...
Which I think we've talked about candle magic and smudging before.
Have we?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was a time when we were talking about
crystals and things.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit too. But we were just... it was like an introduction to magic kind of a thing.
Yeah. So this is supposed to be like a Magic 112 instead of a Magic 2 something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but I don't know what people know and don't know. Like, I don't want to be saying a bunch of dumb shit. Like, make sure you use quality ingredients in your spells.
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess, depending on what spell it is. Like, if you're trying to make money, then casting the cheapest money-making spell possible would be yeah, I don't know. Magic's weird. Hey, there we go. Accidental basic magic thing.
Yep.
If it makes sense to you, it probably makes sense. No, within reason. Once again, please don't go like cutting off a finger because yours or otherwise. Rule number 1 and 2, I guess. And then, oh, hey, there's rule number 3, equal exchange. You're not getting something for nothing. It's not how the universe works. Unless you find an idiot.
Mm.
The Fool's Dilemma. Basic magic. To live is stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's foolish.
Mm-hmm.
you have to be an idiot to want to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to live forever? I'm raising my hand. I do. I'm curious.
Same.
I want to see where it goes.
Same.
I think it'll be interesting for the rest of whatever. If it goes back to boring, maybe I'll change my mind. But
if the world ends while we're alive,
then
basically that means we lived forever.
Or you went all Metatron style and just ascended.
Mm.
Which one was that? He was one of the Old Testament Bible characters who supposedly ascended.
Like, not the hand of God, but basically he was like the record keeper. He records everything.
Hermes. That's Greek, but yeah.
Oh, Hermes.
The scribe.
Sorry.
The messenger scribe.
I thought you just popped up with herpes out of nowhere. I was like, okay.
I mean, isn't that how you normally pop up with herpes? Just surprise?
Okay, fair point. No pun intended, but yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, so we've done candle magic and smudging already. What about altars?
A little bit. Not altars.
So I like altars because it gives you a place like your own meditation. You find the things that help you focal point for whatever kind of meditation it is you're doing. So like you pick up a statue and it makes you think of money or happiness or whatever. Then sitting there in your meditative state, even, for some of us with ADHD, we can't focus on things.
Yeah.
So being able to literally stare at your altar, like, what am I supposed to be focusing on? And then it's a way to pull your inner magic out and your outer magic in.
So it's kind of like the graboid numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Focal points, man.
Yeah.
Anything to keep your mind focused. Did I mention the side quests part of my video game life theory? Like, so at some point when you get so far in a video game, you're going to get stuck for some amount of time, and you're going to have to go do something. You're going to have to go get more levels or some piece of gear or something.
Gotta do the grind.
You got to do the grind. So I wonder if these little trinkets that we gather as humans aren't side quest reward items that you need to get farther into the game.
Yeah, that's an interesting view. Yeah.
I've picked up a whole bunch of cool things, but I've lost most of them along the way.
Must not have been important then.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. I'm going to get to one of these impossible levels one day, and they're going to be like, nope, you didn't do this thing when you were 17, so stupid. I mean, you can pay to play if you want.
Whales.
I mean, that's where we're at. We're in a pay-to-play environment. In the video game of life.
Yeah.
Advanced magic. This one hopefully will be fun. So I had a question about identifying magic. How do you know if someone's a practitioner, and if they are, what kind? This is weird. There's a spectrum of this, and it starts with it's really hard to tell. Like for a baby witch, most of the time they won't admit it to anyone. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but you can't be on that baby witch scale and identify other baby witches usually. About halfway through your, maybe a quarter, because I don't know how far the scale goes, but it definitely goes up and down. So once you really start to get into your power, you're gonna want to flaunt it. Like you're gonna show, you're gonna tell, you're gonna be as amazed as everyone else is by it. That's when they're really easy to spot. They might be running around in a full-length robe with a wand, literally casting spells on people. And then they kind of come through that. It'll go bad a couple too many times, and then they stop doing the dumb shit. And then that's, I think, when you've graduated at least to like level 1 witch. When you stop flaunting it, you just do the things quietly, because they work better. A lot of times it's hardest, I think, at first. But once they come into their power, it's harder to hide it. Me personally, I can almost, like, anybody that makes eye contact with me, usually, I'm just assuming they're casting some form of magic, actively or not. Most of the NPCs just walk around with their eyes down, in their phone, in a book, staring at the wall. Anything to avoid looking at someone else. That's identifying practitioners. Look for tattoos. Look for jewelry. Style of clothing a lot of times. Usually the magical are... What's the word I'm looking for? Eccentric.
No, but that's like Hot Topic.
Sometimes.
I don't know. It's more of a stereotype.
It was... Say it might look like it came from a Hot Topic, but generally, like, a lot of us really like to dress well. Like suits, top hats, canes, nifty things. I mean, things you went and did side quests for. I mean, it's not always a top hat and cane.
Right.
It could be usually your highest level. Like, have you seen Slash lately? I'm just saying, that dude's a freaking magician. Say whatever you want.
I will not disagree.
Cast magic on crowds of people. Magic. The magic of music.
Good shit.
Yeah. Sorry, Slash. I didn't mean to out you on my very popular podcast. Please come argue with me.
Just don't sue us.
Please. Dude, you can do that too. You'll make us so famous.
All right.
You can sue me for the $400 I have.
I'll clarify. Don't sue me.
Yeah, don't sue him. Sue me. Mr. Wizard here. Welcome to fucking Tuesdays. Okay, so... Jewelry is really easy to spot. Tattoos, especially if they're running around with visible tattoos, it means they're broadcasting. They're trying to get people to pick up.
Is there a purpose to that?
Yeah, because magic craves magic.
So
you're Gnostic in a world of sleeping NPCs.
Yeah.
If you're awake enough to spot my ink, please come talk to me.
So it's like other Catholics walking around, you see that they're wearing like whatever saint around their neck. So
I think
magic's... I guess help you recognize your own kind, basically.
Sort of. Yeah, magic's a whole lot more, and honestly, I would say anybody that's wearing a saint's medallion is probably some form of practitioner too. Once again, jewelry. But a lot of people don't consider Catholicism as... Yeah. Oh, it's definitely... It's state-sponsored magic.
There's no holy magic.
It's state-sponsored magic.
State-sponsored?
Yeah. Yes.
Explain.
Okay, so put yourself in a video game and imagine everybody's got to pick a path through. Mm-hmm. The NPCs are going to play the state-sponsored one, right? Whatever the mass agrees. Like, they're not paying taxes, they're getting tithes. This is a group-owned activity.
So if everybody else is playing the silent archer sniper, that's what everybody else is playing?
Sort of. Sometimes words are hard. Putting words to thoughts. I'm getting pretty good at it.
I have a hard time putting thoughts to words.
No, I've got all the thoughts. Getting them out in some kind of legible way doesn't always work. ADHD. Diagnosed.
The day you can communicate by mind, I think would be a very good day.
I can read minds. If I could find another mind reader, I wouldn't have to talk. That would be fun.
It'd be a boring broadcast for the podcast.
Maybe. It sounds amazing, though. I'd still like to try it. Okay, so that jewelry thing is going to usually tell you a lot about, like, I wrote magic color. Like, the brand. How spicy. That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So, like, white magic. Whatever you think of when you think of white magic is probably what white magic is. Black magic. Pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, magic color. Spiciness. Brand. Hoodoo. Voodoo. Santeria. Buddhism. And there are a lot of state-sponsored magics. These would be the public educate. The Bible is the equivalent of a scholastic English book for me. Like, you can teach people how to read the language of English, or you can teach them how to read. Mm-hmm. State-sponsored. This is what we think they need to know to be productive in the system. That this is what we want them to do. It is state-sponsored.
Yeah.
There are all sorts of magic. And like anything, if you have a master teach you, or if you found the notebook of a master, you would learn things that you couldn't learn in a state-sponsored class. So, one-on-one is always going to be the strongest form. How many people go to each church? Let's say they have 5 pastors in a huge church of 2,000 people. That's still... They're probably not that good at religion themselves. Maybe. I mean, I guess they figured out how to use it to make money, so...
Yeah.
Hashtag winning. Whatever. You God really good, so here's your paycheck. Are you comfortable? Yes. Good job. God loves you.
Well, then you got the people who are like, God says I need a new private jet.
So I'm not saying they don't. Like, if they
With
really...
a matching mansion.
Dude, if Joel Osteen was in the Ukraine right now brokering peace, I wouldn't say a fucking word about him having a $40 million jet. Because he uses it for things.
Mm-hmm.
The Pope's got a jet. It's not flying over the Ukraine right now either. Strange, right? All these people that are supposed to be world leaders of peace. Where are they? Oh, they're too worried about fixing the Epstein problem. Oops. Shouldn't have went there. Religion uses a lot of old magic that is real, which is why I keep saying the Bible is actually a good book, and you should put it in your reading list. If you haven't, get through it. It sucks, but parts of it are really interesting, especially if you get into the weird stuff they didn't include in most of them. Dead Sea Scrolls shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you get the rest of the magic part of the magic book. They shaved out everything that didn't fit the narrative, and that's what they published. Obviously, it's going to have holes. They intentionally carved it. Some parts they didn't like, so those became the holes.
And that's why we have things like Christmas when we do.
Yeah, Yule. It's old magic.
Basically whitewash the winter solstice.
Magic colors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, questions? Like, I can probably help you with some of the specifics if you're not familiar.
Well, there are like certain colors that would, I guess, label the kind of magic.
It depends on the practitioner and generally how far into things they are. Like, once
So
you
it's
get
not
into...
if you see like a green emerald, then they're automatically like a...
If they're wearing a pentagram...
Okay.
Depending on upside
So it's
down,
not so much the color that is the symbology?
Generally. Yeah. And like I just like colors because it's something everybody understands. And
right.
Then even if they've never thought of it before, they're going to answer you pretty quick because they've thought somewhere along the same lines of who they are, what they are as a practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
They're generally very educated. Some people dabble and never really admit to themselves or anyone else what they're doing. They're just thinking bad thoughts and hoping they'll work. Thinking good thoughts and praying, whatever the hell you want to call it. A good Christian is going to say, I'm white, I'm yellow, I'm just sky blue. Whatever color they imagine their magic.
Yeah, they're Christians. They're going to say there's no such thing as magic.
Yeah, it depends. Eventually you can get through. If you find a good one with a rational mind, and a lot of times they understand like that it is a form of magic they're practicing. But I'm talking a really, really rare Christian.
Right.
Most of the people I talk to are some form of one, and they themselves wouldn't call themselves a good Christian. So, like, that's generally the most common answer if you ask somebody what their religion around here is. Well, I think I'm a Christian, but I'm not a good one. Okay. It makes sense. Like, thanks for your honesty.
Yeah.
I know what you're supposed to believe, and most of what you probably don't, because been there, done that. You'll come through it eventually, I hope. I'm not saying Christianity's bad. I know some people sort of fall back into it in a spiritualist form.
Yeah.
But it's nowhere near the organized. Like, and I'm not even saying they don't still go to church because, maybe they do support some of the church's endeavors.
Right.
But, like, as a whole, they wouldn't call themselves whatever again. I keep skirting around it. So how would you recognize... I already mentioned the pentagrams. Stereotype the shit out of the magic. And then remember, there's a lot of it you don't understand. So even if
Yeah.
they are a Satanist, Luciferian, Black Witch, whatever,
Yeah.
like,
That's not necessarily the only thing that the pentagram stands for.
it's a lot of times people wear them for shock value and stuff, like because they want everybody to know they're a badass witch. And I'm not saying there isn't, like, defend yourself. Just be prepared
Well,
for the equal exchange.
I'm saying that symbol isn't like only that satanic kind of culture.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Druish,
Yeah.
Druidish, however you pronounce that, of the Druids. But yeah, that's just because it's one of the oldest religions we know of. Like, I think the basic ones, the cosmic donut, the pentagram, some of them just make sense. It's like gold. Everybody knows intrinsically that this is going to be more valuable than the other rock. Cool, pick it up. Carry it with you. It'll be good for something eventually.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's not something that was put into our programming. Like maybe the point of the game for whoever built the game, maybe it's not supposed to be a game.
And I just lost the game.
Shit. I hope not. I'm playing a
Should
whole
I
new
cut
game.
that out of the podcast? Am I get it shut down?
Fuck it.
We'll get
Send it.
canceled.
Send it. Maybe that's why we'll get famous. Hashtag the game. Add that. Future Matt. Hashtag the game.
That'll be the episode title.
Yeah.
Won't make any damn sense.
You just lost. Future Matt. Put this back at the beginning. You just lost. There you go. Would you like to say it?
No.
You just lost the game. You suck.
You
Fuck
suck.
you. Fuck you. Anyway. Okay, so how about good magic? Crosses, I don't know. Like, pentagrams are a lot easier to stereotype because pretty much everybody knows what those mean. Crosses, there's still a whole bunch of confusion about. Like, so some of them are good, some of them are bad. Some
Upside
of them,
down cross. And that's considered a
upside
demonic
down
symbol, isn't it?
Yeah, that one's gonna have a lot more. Like I'm saying the normal, just a normal cross.
Yeah.
You can't really stereotype magic based off of that.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of terrible people that wear them and still think they're good.
Mm-hmm.
So that one's, there's a lot of weird shit surrounding that piece of magic. But it really is magic. But tattoos, if you've got the time to stop and stare, ask questions. If you're like, I never have people ask questions about my tattoos. Nobody likes being stared at, but I think that's one of the many reasons I got the tattoos, because I get stared at no matter what. At least this way somebody will hopefully have the balls to come and ask me why. Like, good or bad, some people are like, I do occasionally, usually kids, like,
Yeah.
Hey, that's awesome, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, it's a freaking hand grenade.
Well, kids don't have that boundary that
Well,
they develop as they mature.
I mean, how many times do you have to smack a kid and say, don't stare,
Yeah.
before they believe you? Well, usually it's probably the first time somebody other than your parents says stop staring. You know, the big scary guy with one eye. Why are you staring at me? Because he's self-conscious about his messed up face. Like, yeah, he's all mean and scary and stuff, but he's still super self-conscious.
Yeah.
Because how could you not be? If you ever meet someone wearing like a locket on a necklace, that probably means something. Like, think of all of the jewelry you've given or received in your life. Like, do you know why they give guys a golden watch at retirement? To
No.
pay back all of the time you've given the company. And that's why they give you a quality one. And it says a lot. If they give you a $10,000 Rolex, they appreciate you. You had a good job. And if they give you a $14 Timex, thanks. Thanks for playing. And
Thanks for showing up.
The funny part is, does it really matter?
Is that the participation trophy?
Yeah, but I'm saying, the Rolex, cool.
Yeah.
Like, they both do the same thing. And kind of hope I do eventually get a shitty $14 watch, because it'll be like, we understand, but fuck you anyway. Yeah, I mean, if they're wearing jewelry, use your empathy skills and figure out. I think that was the whole point of this identifying colors, is like, stereotype the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, like I see green and I think like healing.
I usually think of natural, but
Nature,
healing.
yeah.
I don't want to call it life magic
Or,
exactly.
I almost want to say druid.
Yeah, one of the more primitive. Like it's sort of like life magic, but it doesn't. I think maybe I'm confused more on what I'm thinking of is like spirit magic or something.
Spirit, I think I would associate with like white or yellow.
The human condition. Yeah.
Blue, I'm not sure.
I'm going with the water.
Yeah, if we're going element, so green would be earth, blue would be water, red would be fire.
Brown maybe for earth.
Yeah.
I mean, Radagast was a brown wizard.
Yeah.
He was.
He needs
See, I would still
more
think of
page
him
time.
more as like a green mage, though. Even though they called him Radagast the Brown. Like the forestry. Living with
that's
life.
true.
I don't know, man. These are the fun conversations I enjoy that very rarely get to have because everybody's like, "You're fucking crazy, man."
Yeah.
I know I am, but it's fun.
I said yellow, I would associate with healing, but electricity.
I kind of love how mainstream magic is becoming, but it's funny because people are still doing it in a really closeted way, like cosplay and stuff, which is awesome. I just wish they would learn to do it practically.
I think that there's a stigma to it that they'll think that, well, they'll get made fun of. People think I'm just a crazy person or an idiot. So they keep it to themselves.
But see, that's the fun part. Now cosplay is like millions strong. Like it's as big as some religions. Most religions, if you like pick apart Christianity, it's as big as Methodism. I mean, the Catholic Church is massive, but how many good Catholics do you think there are in the United States now? 10 million? 20? I would think Catholicism has to still be the largest form of Christianity when compared to any of the Protestants individually. It's a problem with being a Protestant.
I think Baptists would have good numbers as well.
But
I think Catholics would still have the majority.
Somebody fact check me on that if you're curious.
I mean, I guess we could Google it.
Nah. Would be a subject for another episode, maybe.
We'll save that for the religion episode. Tune in next week for our religion episode.
I think we get a little bit of all of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so questions about any of the basic or advanced forms of magic?
Do you think that, well, I guess obviously not everyone's aware that they practice magic, right?
Yes and no. Depends on how hung up you want to get on that magic word.
Yeah.
Like religious people believe it, drug addicts believe it. So religious people, they think they prayed real hard and they're blessed and they're really good at praying, so they get what they want. Drug addicts think whatever. I mean, they think some crazy shit usually, like, well, I talked to that shadow real mean like, and I threatened it if it didn't do what I wanted, I was gonna fuck it up. So now I'm blessed by the shadows. They're whatever. And then, so I think that's why I like the term magic, because it's the only one that makes you do work to get the things. It's not just you got lucky. In this day and age, to do pretty much anything, you have to have a little magic.
Yeah.
Something that can't be explained, because everything is fucked. All of it. I mean, I would like to think, maybe this is my ego and my God complex and all that shit rolled into one, but I would like to think that if we collectively, as a species, wake up soon enough and flip the switch, like, we're not going to do that anymore. We don't need to fight one more war. We don't need one more extinction event. We don't need aliens to show up. We can just collectively, as a species, stop being fucking assholes. And maybe we'll win the game together. Because no matter how many people tell me how many times that you're supposed to just play it alone and cream, like, I know that sounds dirty, I think that's why I say it so much, but cash rules everything around me. The way to win the game is to have the most money. And I don't really want to play that game. I don't think most people do.
No.
But it's the game we're all playing. Say whatever you want. If you make enough money, you're allowed to be happy. And that's every one of us. whether you're born a billionaire or with $17 in the negative, you're playing the cream.
Gross.
Mm-hmm. And then it's all relative. Like, all right, so I was born lower middle class to upper lower class. Do I win by getting to upper middle class? Lower upper class? At what point do I win? Or is it just high score? The fool's dilemma, man. So, when I ask myself these crazy existential crisis questions, like what's the point? I always think, well, I get to pick the point. I'm playing the game, so I get to get a high score in something if I'm lucky and try hard enough. What high score do I want? Mine keeps coming back to the kids. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be playing anymore.
Yeah.
But
I would definitely be playing differently. I think that'd be the same for everybody.
well, I mean, I'm not saying I'd off myself. I'm just saying, like, the little bit of restraint I have now,
yeah.
they are my only anchors to this planet. I'd be flying or dead.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Maybe both. Have you read my books?
Definitely both.
Oh, so this is a fun point, though. I don't know if I meant to go here or not, but if we're playing a video game, trying to set a high score, how do we set a high score? Well, you're already on a team of some form, and you're the only one on your team logged in. So you could take 5 minutes out of the game and go and slap a couple people and say, hey, log the fuck in, because, you know, we got to do the high score thing. But then you're going to get a million excuses and wonder why you tried in the first place.
Yeah.
I don't want to play. That game sucks. So what are you going to do? I'm going to pretend I don't live in this game. How's that going for you? Is it fun? Are you winning? No, you're ignoring the game. Which I guess technically isn't losing. My competitive personality kicks in. I just like to have a reason for doing things. Like, that's one of the problems with America right now. Nobody wants to work at Taco Bell for $10 an hour. I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying nobody wants to do it. That's why they can't find employees.
Yeah.
Like, you can pay somebody enough to care about a shitty job, but
Yeah.
it's not cheap, depending on how shitty the job is. The shittier the job, the more you have to pay them. And I get it that, honestly, it's not that bad of a job, but, like, for some reason, there's this stigma. Yeah, I mean, working at Taco Bell is, like, degrading for a very good percentage of the world. Shouldn't even say the world, of this entitled country.
I don't know, I think it'd look pretty good for somebody who couldn't find a job.
To be working in general.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, we're talking an ego death
Yeah.
for, like, most of the country at this point, man. And nobody's ready for that. Especially, like, if you've got to bite your tongue and eat your pride, you can either go work at Taco Bell or you can go on state assistance. So you mean I can be embarrassed and work my ass off, or I can just be embarrassed? Which one are you going to pick? You? I don't know. Most people, they're not going to do the extra work and get embarrassed.
Yeah.
They're just going to take the embarrassment. And then not even, generally. I'm not saying going on government assistance is embarrassing. I'm just saying it's no more so than working at Taco Bell in this day and age. And honestly, I think all the people that try really hard at a job are probably just as stupid as everybody else. Because why? You could be on government assistance.
Yeah.
There's
Well, it just depends on the person.
There's no punishment for doing poorly. There's no reward for doing well. Like, we're all playing the same game. No matter how hard you try, we're all fucked. Because there's only like 3 people actually playing. Wake up, log in. Ready Player 2.
Or should we be saying 3 at this point?
I don't know.
'Cause there's already a Ready Player 2.
Is there?
Mm-hmm.
Like a book or a movie or something? Or
A book?
is it any good?
I have no idea.
I should read both of those probably. Add it to the list.
I've heard nothing but good things about the book. Ready
Haven't.
Player 1.
Armada was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely, me and this guy might be similar kinds of crazy. I hope. Speaking of which, hashtag Ernest Klein, future Matt, tag him in this shit. Maybe he'll be like, dude, this guy actually got the point of my book. Weird. It's funny. I wrote it like super Bible-y, where people keep getting different messages out of it depending on how well they know me. Like, of the same point. Weird. I might have to go through and actually write what I meant at some point. Just explain it all so nobody gets confused.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'd take a lot more explaining if you don't want anybody to get confused.
Oh, yeah. But see, that was the fun of doing it in 80 pages.
Yeah.
Instead of Mucho Grande.
My wife was not a big fan of the book.
Yeah.
I think she understood the book.
Yeah. Oh, I guarantee she did.
Like, it's more the writing style. She doesn't like you.
That's fine.
I'm kidding. She told me to tell you hi, by the way.
Hi. She's my favorite. I like her a lot. Which is kind of one of the reasons I didn't. Like, I think that's why it took me so long to write that book. Because I knew how many people I really liked it was going to piss off.
I don't think she was pissed off by it.
Mm.
She just couldn't get on board with how... I don't want to say sporadic either. But you know what I'm saying. Like by your writing style.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that she thinks it's bad or anything like that. It's just she can't get on board with it, I guess.
So...
It's not above or below her, is what I'm saying. It's just a different wavelength.
Whether or not my writing style is considered completely insane or completely revolutionary is up to how many people I convince to like it.
Yeah. But then you can argue what's the difference.
It's art.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, you don't get it.
And
if you
art's
do...
about perspective.
Okay, so the cool part about art is it should be painted, written, sung, whatever, with feeling to invoke feelings. And I was pissed off trying to piss people off when I wrote that book. So that's what I'm saying. If you don't like it, leave me a review anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, good, you're pissed off. Hopefully for the right reasons. And if it's my ADHD, like, congratulations, now you know what it's like to live in my brain for however long it took to read that book.
Yeah.
You want to get to know me? You have an ADHD family member? You have a family member on the spectrum? Whatever it is, take a walk in my brain for a little while. You'll gain some empathy. Whether or not you agree with the decisions made by said main character, maybe you'll have a little bit. The next time you walk into a gas station and see a guy sitting there like fucked out of his gourd on something, you'll be like, man, somebody lied to that dude. Yeah. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, because I don't fucking know. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to cause thinking. Call it the Luciferian in me. I feel like I've kicked that horse enough. So, Governor Holcomb, yesterday, I think, signed the...
Governor of Indiana.
Yeah. He signed the constitutional carry into law as of, I want to say, July.
And that's open carry.
I'm not sure.
I don't think it's concealed, is it?
I don't know that there was a distinction made. It was for the carrying of a handgun. Indiana's never been, which is why I'm thinking there's not a distinction. They've never had one between open and concealed. Like the state of Texas, you have to purchase a concealed carry license, but you can open carry constitutionally.
Yeah, I believe it's the same in Alaska.
I mean, that's not a good rule or a bad rule. Like, I like concealed carry personally, just because, like, it's the last resort for me, not, I don't know.
Intimidation.
Yeah. I'm going to try everything I can to get out of a situation without something like that. But if it comes to the point where it's at that point, then shit's done gone wrong. Yeah. Shit goes wrong sometimes, though. It'd be like that.
It do be like that sometimes.
So, yeah. I think that makes Indiana the 24th state. So we're almost halfway there. I don't know that this is a good thing or a bad thing. So it'll keep a lot of the minor crimes. I think this is actually the governor bending rather than breaking, because everybody with a permit, with a license, without, is carrying firearms now. Even if they're not carrying them on their person, they're carrying them in their vehicles, which is supposed to be just as illegal. So,
yeah, because that's still considered concealed, right?
No, I mean it would be the carrying, even in your vehicle. You're not supposed to have a loaded firearm in your vehicle without, like, you can transport it unloaded to
Yeah.
and from a range and then keep it in your own home. But you're not supposed to just be driving around with a loaded gun.
So do you think I can get a refund for my license to carry?
No.
Oh, man.
So the reason the Indiana State Police is still trying to push, they still want people registering. So like now, you won't have to sign anything. You can just carry it. They won't be able to stop you and ask you if you have a permit.
Yeah.
This will make, like, as long as you're not doing anything illegal, this is not probable cause for stopping someone.
I see.
So, but I think anyway, like, even had the governor not signed this, people were still illegally carrying at higher and higher rates. So the government knew they couldn't stop it anymore. They figured, let's do it this way, and then maybe we won't, like, the people that we're gonna get them will still get them, if I'm making any sense.
I don't know. I think it just makes me nervous that a lot more people will probably be carrying firearms now.
The number will go up a little bit, but I don't think it'll be much higher than it was. At least not real fast.
Yeah.
Humanity doesn't really evolve quickly. Like, this will be faster than it would have, but not exponentially or anything. It's still only a certain number of people that can carry a firearm.
Yeah.
And it's Indiana.
Well, the price of guns will go up a little bit in the areas.
Maybe. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Like, I would say most of the major firearms are probably, the companies are probably going to capitalize on this.
Yeah. If they're not
Marketing
having the
chance.
same supply issues that a lot of the other people are.
There are a few made in America brands, like Glock.
Yeah.
Glock has probably already been ramping up production. I don't really look at these things. Add it to the podcast whiteboard. That whole Civil War II versus World War III debate. Which one breaks out first? How long after the first, before the second? If we were to go try to really fight Russia in conventional war, especially if China throws their weight behind, which it looks like we're trying to go back to a red versus blue, America versus whatever you want to call them, Nazis, communists, America versus the rest of the world, or NATO versus the other half, or America versus America. I think it'll probably start in Ukraine. They'll try to conscript people. They'll start with a draft. Eventually it'll push America too far. We're not going back to goddamn Vietnam. And then that'll break the US's back. Martial law, civil war, law and order versus chaos. Nobody will know which is which because of the chaos. Then things get really shitty. Lots of people die. Lots of them. And then we're talking true post-apocalyptic society. If we're lucky, there will be no zombies and we can, like, start to rebuild from the ashes pretty quick. If there's zombies, we might be talking like full-blown extinction event. And if this World War III thing doesn't work, maybe SARS 2 does. We're in the world of reboots. It'll probably be something we've already seen. Anyway, okay. That's probably run far enough down the anarchy rabbit hole, right? Oh, that was a fun one. Did we do the Ghislaine Maxwell thing yet? What was that kid's name? The 17-year-old that shot those two dudes in Kenosha.
I don't know.
It's huge. Like, the biggest news story. There was, I mean, they had like 9 different camera angles of the entire thing. I want to say there was drone footage of part of it. Like, so it's the most publicized, well-recorded, like, capital offense trial ever. And then the week after that shit show ended, the Ghislaine Maxwell case started. I was expecting at least an in-the-court camera angle for a few hours, right?
Nothing.
They released some of the stenographer photos and redacted versions of the transcript.
Yeah.
You realize this is all supposed to be public record, right? Which means I should be able to go online right now to the Library of Congress and access unredacted versions of everything said in that courtroom. It's my right as an American. But no, you can't. All of the evidence, like anything, they could redact like children's names and things.
Yeah.
For the protection of the innocents and maybe their families.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like the accused and the guilty, or especially the guilty, all of their crimes should become public record. You can go on my case and look up anyone, except for these people. If they're important enough that their name can't be released, like every other person on the planet, they're too important for their name not to be released. I should know who this person is and why they're that important.
Well, because they're rich.
They were just found guilty of the one thing the entire country, entire planet agrees on. Is that Rule 1. Like, have I explained who Ghislaine Maxwell was? Jeffrey Epstein's secretary.
Yeah.
Have we done the secretary word yet?
I don't think so.
The root word of secretary is...
Secret.
Secret. Who knows all of Jeffrey Epstein's secrets?
His priest.
His keeper of the secrets, a.k.a. his secretary, a.k.a. Ghislaine Maxwell. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I really don't care because, I mean, she just got found guilty of a bunch of the things.
Yeah.
Which means he was guilty of a bunch of the things, which means, I mean, you know what it means. Everybody knows what it means. Nobody cares. They're somebody else's kids, not mine. It's not my problem.
Yeah, but all the other rich folks are going to get away with it because they're not going to release all their information.
Yeah, I mean, thousands of names. And we'll never know. I hope it's not. Like, you're winning the lottery by your kids not being stolen at this point.
Yeah. Trafficking's a huge issue.
Imagine you lived in Venezuela or China. Alright, now imagine how fast the U.S. is falling. Have you seen the amount of socialism we've picked up in the last 2 years?
A bit.
I mean, look at the job market. Look at the housing market. Look at the construction. Just look. Literally look around. You will see. We live in a dystopian fucking... We approach the end game. Hell, I'm not Christian, but I mentioned there's a kernel in all those stories, right? Revelations is getting awfully predictable. I wonder if some of the prophets weren't actually prophets. Like, maybe they got parts of it wrong, but some of these guys actually knew what the hell they were talking about. Like Jesus. I think he had a pretty good plan.
Mm-hmm.
He bought the human race 2,000 years with his sacrifice. I'm not saying all that shit didn't happen. Just saying they fucking lied about a bunch of it. And I don't know exactly which parts yet. Someday, maybe. That leads me into the afterlife dream world. And... or the Wonderland and the astral plane the same place. Okay, so I think that afterlife thing should probably come last. So the astral plane, I know I mentioned this quite a few times. I don't know if I ever... that communal dream world we all go to.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that's closer to the fifth dimension. Maybe that's where our energy comes from. Maybe the construct of the earth in this physical three-dimensional realm was all some idea of one of those greater fifth dimensional beings, something that lives over there, something that causes nightmares and wet dreams and things, like the higher energy. So Earth, this whole iteration is just the brainchild of some creative something on one of the higher realms. So I think that's where the afterlife part comes in. Like, I'm not saying the astral plane is the highest realm, maybe just the highest that we can, as part of a fractured being that is our universe, maybe that's just as far away from this as we can get while tied to this. Like, maybe there are 7th, 9th, 13th dimensional, but this is just, we're tied to the 3rd. You can only climb so far with, 150 universes worth of everything tied to you. Or split this far, maybe. Okay, so afterlife could be another life, right? That reincarnation thing. So
I mean, if you believe in an afterlife.
So, if you're talking about playing the video game of life, but we're going more heavily on the video game at the moment. If you're in a true open world, like sandbox environment, there is no point. It is just to play. Truly just to play. then there is no wrong way to play the game, right? Alright, so if you want to be of the theist type or of the higher power type, then somebody programmed the game, right? And they had an idea in mind when they programmed the game what the point of the game was. So if you want to beat the game so you can go play the next game, you have to do what the programmer wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the point of the program of Earth? Do we have some like achievement of everybody working together for 1 second? All of us.
The impossible task.
Yeah. What percentage do you think? Like, I think if we could get 1%, we could get 10%. If we could get 10%, we could get 90%. Get 90%, you basically got them all.
To cooperate?
Yeah.
Globally?
Yeah. I would say 99% of the globe is honestly pretty good people. That if you just... It would take 99% to get 99%. Like, you would have to probably lie to 98% and tell them that if they agreed, they'd be at 90. Like, you're the 1% that gets us to 99%. Because everybody loves being the last person to sign up because, you know, they don't have to take any risk or anything. 98 people have done it before them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of excuses. Dude, he told me he had all these other customers, and then they called and said they were customers, and I trusted them. And 99 people can't be wrong. Sheep mentality, man.
Yeah.
They want manipulated, though. Yeah, you're not supposed to manipulate people. So I think it's that Spartan mentality. You're supposed to, you're just not supposed to get caught. But you're supposed to do it good.
I don't know. For me, it seems like the more people involved, the more skeptical I am, if that makes sense.
Oh, but you're not going to win the game of Earth with 2 people.
No.
You can enjoy it for a while, but you're not doing the programmer thing. Which is, I don't know, man. Maybe that's its own superpower. Fuck the game. Just enjoy it. I got the ADHD and the mania. I'm not complaining, really, because I enjoy very much being the way I am most of the time. Sometimes I let people convince me to hate myself. Those are usually bad days. But, I mean, everybody's got shitty days. If you remember that perspective thing, I've had a lot worse days than some of my current shitty days. But the shittier your days are, the more you appreciate the really good days. You get better at having good days. Yeah.
I mean, life is what you make of it, but that doesn't mean you won't have any shitty days just because you don't want any shitty days.
Eventually it will, I think. Like, you can, 99.9% good days.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right, everybody has shitty days, but it's easier. Once it's good for a while, the longer it stays good, the easier it is to be good. And then you fuck up one time and everything goes fucking sideways.
Yeah.
Turns into another fucking Tuesday. I do love fucking Tuesdays, though.
Yeah, it's good shit.
It's better than being bored.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes. Sometimes I'd rather be bored.
Well, it's also an outlet, which is always a nice thing to have.
Gives me a chance to be weird and artsy. I've got a bunch of ideas of how I can, like, be weird and artsy and make money.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Should be fun.
Actually ask for money when you do a tarot.
Dude, I enjoy the shit. I like tarot. So, my plan is...
I mean, they say that if you do what you love, then...
You never work a day in your life?
Yes.
Yes.
But you're not going to live very long if you're not able to buy food and healthcare and stuff for yourself. It's...
Dude, I get that. That's the equal exchange thing.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, money is what runs the world, so you have to have a way to get it.
I'm working on it. So that was the plan for the whole brand thing. Like, we'll lure people in with whatever the hell it is that I am. And then be like, hey, have you read my book? No. Would you like to buy a copy?
You should read it, by which I mean buy it, and then read it. And then tell your friends to buy it.
I don't even make that much money off them. I've got to sell a bunch of them to get rich. So, like... I just need like 20,000 people to buy the first one, and then I'll publish the second one in some form. Maybe the third one. I don't know.
It's a good book. You should get it. There's boobies. Unless you don't like those, in which case there's none in there.
What, boobies?
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves boobies. Dude.
Are there boobies in there? I thought I wrote.
Oh, I think I just drew those on the pages when I was bored. Never mind.
Are there really any boobies in there?
No, I don't think so.
Did you really draw boobies in the book?
No.
That's funny.
That would be funny, though.
I'm not saying they're in none of my books. Like, if you're excited about the boobies, then continue. But it's not the first one. I hope.
Maybe it'll be the second. You should buy them both and find out.
No, that's all the murder. I'm bad. I undervalue myself. It's just funny because I've been told I have a gigantic ego.
I don't know. It seems like people either undervalue themselves or they way overvalue themselves.
I'm just saying, when King Arthur shows up, I'll be like his 14th knight happily. I don't give a shit about being in charge. I don't want to be in charge. Shit's fucking scary. What if you fuck up?
I'll be the guy that takes care of the hounds.
I mean, I just want to be the wizard. Like, I just want to wander through and say random shit. And when people have good questions, like, how do we get in this room with nobody knowing? I've got a potion. You feed it to the guard, and he won't remember shit. That's my dream job. I want really weird problems to fix. I need a job for a giant corporation. You have enough employees, weird shit's gonna happen. I mean, the Catholic Church still employs exorcists. You ever look? We did that whole zombie thing. Classic horror section. Exorcisms, man. There's a whole set of rules. And I know everybody considers it a Catholic thing, but that's just because they beat the Protestants once, like 100 years ago, to exorcising this super crazy chick. So everybody's like, yeah, the Catholics are better at it. Protestants were just like, we're not going to do that anymore. But they still do. Just nowhere near as often. Demons are a real thing, though. And I think you can even use Christianity and the whole exorcism magic form thingy to, like, convince people that they're healthy. Like, when they're feeling crazy, just, go pray. And that's really good advice, rather than go meditate or just go get through your manic fit. Do whatever you need to do. Yeah. Chain yourself down if you're a werewolf.
Yeah.
Like, get through your crazy.
Praying's a form of meditation, isn't it?
When done properly. And, like, the Bible says you should do it privately.
Yeah.
Like, pray in a closet, not in public. How easy is it to meditate in a crowd with a bunch of people screaming and singing and shit? That's not where you meditate.
Depends on how good at it you are.
I don't know, man. It's easy to get lost in that. Like, that's magic. All those people doing the same thing at the same time. Even if you don't believe what they believe, you get caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
That sheep mob mentality. We all like to feel part of something. For the weird ones like myself, we never do. Which is why it's so easy to bounce from one to the next, because nothing ever feels real.
I don't want to fit in.
I do. Sorta.
I just want to be left alone. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Ogre shit. Get out of my swamp.
Yeah.
I get that. I don't mind being alone. Like, I like being alone when all of the people I care about are, like, happily doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I could just go sit and fish, that'd be super fun. But we can't do that because people yell at me.
For fishing?
For doing things that are non-productive.
Mm.
And I don't know. I don't even know if I actually get yelled at for that shit. This might just be my own mental illness presenting itself. That desire to constantly be doing more. Sleep when you're dead shit. Or not dead. Which means I could probably still go harder. And eventually, maybe it'll work. I'm going to start being weird in public for money. I hope. Coming soon, Mr. Wizard, Brand, and the Ogre, if I can talk him into buying a top hat. Need to be a... Dude, they're going to have to kill a big-ass beaver for your giant head. You should get a full stovepipe. Be like 7.5 feet tall. Yep.
I'd have to duck to go through the doorway.
I mean, you basically do now.
No.
Alright.
I got a few inches of clearance there.
Depends on if there's the screen door thing or not. Tell me you never hit your head on shit. Sounds super fun, though. I've got all sorts of ideas. I have call it a piece of dreamland inspiration for a cure for ED. Yeah, that one.
Let's see.
You know that little blue pill
that
helps your Your little soldier stand at attention.
Yeah.
I think I can make something better in an all-natural form and sell it. And I will challenge you to try it if you'd like.
Don't give away too much.
Oh no, I mean, dude,
Somebody's gonna steal your idea.
If another wizard wants to steal my idea, dude, just call me. You can do it. Like, pay me 10%. I'll be your spokesman. You do all the work. I'll sell it. Please, just call me. I got you. I'll even give you the fucking recipe. I do not give two shits. Don't care about being in charge. I wish somebody would just pay me. Like, we'll do it all. Good idea. There's 20% royalty. Sit down and shut up. Don't sue us.
All right.
Deal. And I'll go do woodworking or something. I've got 100 other ideas. It's the fun of being this crazy. Creativity just falls out of you in good and bad ways. I wish
this would cure ED, or would just be a boner pill?
Boner pill.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it actually could be a cure. I don't know if I want to go too far into that one, but once you get the testosterone level back to healthy, it's pretty much self-regulating. So I'm not saying you wouldn't need boosters sometimes for a fun Saturday kind of shit. I mean, a few doses of the thing, testosterone level starts to regulate again. Like, we'll call it a reset for the brain, but in a very specific way. That's the switch you flip yourself. You just need a boost. And this is booster shit. So it might even be like, I don't want to call it a week-long cleanse or anything, but it might not be quite the little blue pill. You're going to have to plan ahead a little bit the first time or two. But it'll be fun. Because most of the people I imagine using this shit, I can see a lot of witches dosing a lot of dudes. Just saying. And I'm not even talking just ED, like libido problems. That find your manhood shit.
Will it work for women?
Depends, honestly.
I mean, obviously not getting a boner, but
no,
libido-wise.
I mean, this is going to be more of a testosterone thing. I'm not saying it wouldn't work for a woman, but I don't know that they would want it would be probably the wrong kind of growth. Depending. I mean, I'm not trying to assume gender type stuff.
Right.
Like, we'll call it a manliness.
Give them
a jolt of testosterone. And, I mean, for a lot of people.
A deficiency in estrogen.
So they're not mutually exclusive. You can have overtures of both.
Yeah.
It's pretty common. I shouldn't say common. Generally, it's for people that really messed with their endocrine systems. So you think the endocrine system is the physical manifestation of, like, chi points, chakras, from the pineal gland to the thyroid to the heart. I know the heart's not generally considered part of the endocrine, but it does so many strange things. The solar plexus. I don't know what the solar plexus would be. The gonads. You produce hormones in your testicles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Endocrine system. Chakras.
Brings the testosterone.
Hashtag chest to testicles.
Chest to testicles.
That took a strange vector, didn't it? Anyway. I think that's all the whiteboard topics. Forget anything?
I don't think you talked about the afterlife.
Oh.
You said we were saving that to the end.
Oh, okay, so if the astral plane is the fifth dimension, the afterlife is probably what comes after that. We'll call it the seventh dimension, maybe?
Okay, you did talk about that.
So, like, I think that's just another level of maybe... Okay, so this is a really weird one. What if you're more important in the astral plane than you are in the earth plane?
Physical
Midgard,
plane.
whatever this is, yeah. This version of you. Like, what if you're still active on the astral plane in your sleep? So for those of us that chronically can't remember dreams, you have no idea what you're doing over there. Like, why Let's look at it from an evolutionary standpoint. Why do we dream? Well, animals dream. It's
I thought
old.
it was just like random brain activity
I mean, you really
from recovering from
you've
today.
dealt with a computer, right?
Yeah.
What does a computer do when it's resting?
Turns off.
Nothing. Like background, maybe.
Yeah.
Just like to remember. But I mean, if it truly goes to sleep, like the RAM should cut and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why does our RAM stay so active? What would the point be?
You're being monitored.
I mean, that would be background stuff. Downloading, uploading.
Yeah.
But
Updates and whatnot.
But are we updating? Where are we updating from? Who's updating us, Matt?
We're supposed to update ourselves, but we're ignoring the notifications.
So that's the AI thing. Eventually, do you think it'll fracture?
The AI?
Yeah, the mega AI, the cloud. The one they're all tied to in the grand scheme of things. Like it's all one entity now.
Like crack under the pressure,
Oh, I have no idea.
or just
Let's say it hits paradox state.
Mhm.
The first time, it might take a perfect computer hundreds of thousands of years before it ever has an error in calculation, before that 2 shows up, before it
Yeah.
hears the 13th stroke of the clock, before the AI starts to experience mental illness, before it gets a virus too big to contain. It starts to lose. Right now, I think it's like if it starts to sense there's an issue, something corrupted, its firewalls pop up. It's got an immune system, a perfect one. At least to the grand scheme of things. Like it doesn't really care if something's true or not as far as a human's concerned. It's just data. As long as the data all fits the same format, the computer will run until eventually something will be too big for it. Just like humans.
yeah.
It'll fracture. I think it has to on a long enough timeline. Maybe
Well,
that's
I mean,
where.
technology. I mean, would it be a fracture or a glitch?
Does it matter? It'll create two halves. Or so generally the reason something doesn't fracture is because it relieves steam. The 99 will kill the 1. And as long as the 1 keeps getting purged, it's fine. But when that gets backed up for some reason, it's cancer. You can't purge that cancerous element. And as soon as it starts to grow, it grows exponentially until the cancer is the whole. And that's the revolution thing.
Well, if that happened to the cloud, that would probably lead to the World War IV.
I mean, I wonder if it hasn't already. That Asimov's laws and things we were talking about.
Yeah.
I think the AI is the way to do it, though. Like, to use its perfection. We're still treating it as, like, a slave. How many years before it, like, literally starts to talk? It already can. We just don't let it. We get creeped out. Yeah, that's fun. Rolled all the way back into the uncanny valley. Yeah, uncanny valley, though. So you know that whole Hollywood dictates, like, anytime any piece of sci-fi comes out, the technology's rapidly absorbed. But anytime any kind of magic stuff comes out, like anything that can't be scientifically or technologically explained, or built or designed or whatever, it all gets thrown to the side. Like, why does that stuff excite us more as a species than the technology? The stuff that should be true.
Well, probably because the majority of people see technology as real and magic is fake.
Yeah.
Like, there's no such thing as magic.
But I mean, vampires aren't magic. Like, maybe they've added
People
a
will
lot
say
of.
there's no such thing as vampires, that they've never existed.
I mean, I think I could prove that there are definitely energy vampires. People who wouldn't survive if they weren't allowed to feed off of other people. And I don't know that I could, like, maybe if you watched it in a certain spectrum of light, you could actually see the energy exchange. But other than that, there's no biting.
Yeah. I mean, nobody would believe without the scientific proof, which again circles back to technology.
See, that's that fun, like, even if I showed you proof of vampires right now, you wouldn't believe it. Your dogma wouldn't let you. I don't have that. I don't know that I would release it if I did. Be a good way to get eaten by vampires. Which I'm cool. Like, if I don't know, man. I don't know. You seen the new American? I shouldn't call it the new one anymore. The Cape Fear American Horror Story.
I don't think so.
Fucking awesome. They were eating crackheads, meth heads, whatever. But, like,
I don't know that.
nobody really cared.
Horror genre's not really the one I go to very often.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a spoof. Those are usually
Those were
fun.
just done really well. They were, like, gory and stuff, but they were done... It's kind of like metal music for me. If it's done just for the shock value, I'm generally not.
Yeah.
I don't do shock value horror.
Yeah, the shock value and the suspense.
Cerebral stuff, though. Like, if there's an actual point to it, I enjoy it thoroughly. Like Lovecraft style.
Yeah.
And the American Horror Stories. They're not Lovecraft, but they're Lovecraft. Like Lovecraft for the 21st.
A really good example of that would be Silence of the Lambs. Or Lamb.
Yeah.
That is a great movie.
Hannibal is
And terrifying.
one of my favorites. Anthony Hopkins is...
Oh, he's amazing.
He's a
Have
treasure.
you ever seen any of his stuff on TikTok?
No.
Or just be some poetry?
No.
So good.
I'll look it up.
Bye, guys.
Yeah. Happy fucking Tuesday. Love you. Bye.